Water looks a bit treacherous out there. But yeah, I'm sure this boat can handle it just fine. Okay, so maybe this is a bit treacherous. Oh, what a terrible time for the boat to cut out. Oh, this is bad. Oh. Yep, definitely too treacherous. Yeah, that boat's gone. Like, imagine this. We're literally right there. Abby's just chilling at the aquarium. Meanwhile, Ellie's just currently drowning. But don't worry, you'll be fine, Ellie. But you have plot armor. Okay, we're in the aquarium now. We just need to find Abby. Ouch.
Shit. Stupid dog.
Man.
People don't come back from that island.
How many times has Abby risked her life for you?
She chose this. I'm not fucking going there.
Then don't! Go back.
Fuck you, Owen.
Hands up. Where's Abby?
You're that girl from Jackson.
Tell me where she went.
How do we know you won't kill us?
Give her what she wants and we're dead.
You guys can survive this. I just need her.
Bullshit.
You. Come here.
Fucking get over here!
Point to where she is on this map. And then you better fucking match up.
What are you doing?
She's probably dead anyway.
It is not worth it.
Stop!
We can talk
Back
about
the
it.
fuck up!
Point to where she is.
Fucking Christ!
Okay, so I'm going to cut it here because from this point onwards, things get really ugly. The kind of ugly that I'm not sure YouTube would like me to show you. Instead, I'm going to summarize what happened. And well, the result basically was that Owen and Mel ended up getting brutally killed by Ellie. The circumstances are as follows. Ellie turns up and attempts to forcefully get information out of Mel and Owen to find out where Abby is, but they refuse to give it up. Instead, Owen and Mel resist. Owen attempts to grab Ellie's gun, but Ellie ends up turning the gun on him and shooting him in the guts, inflicting a fatal wound. Mel then proceeds to attack Ellie with a knife, but Ellie overpowers her and proceeds to stab Mel in the throat, killing her. She then proceeds to go over to Owen, who is currently bleeding out and dying from his wound, and she attempts to force information out of him, but to no avail, and Owen soon dies after. Only after they're both dead, Ellie proceeds to check both of their bodies. Upon checking the bodies, she discovers that Mel was in fact heavily pregnant. Seeing this, Ellie breaks down in shock, realizing, I can only assume, at what her quest for revenge is leading her, what it's made her do. And she proceeds to break down in shock, which leads to this scene.
Whoa. Hey. It's all right. Come on, let's go. Let's go. It's all right.
When it comes to this particular scene, I have seen some people talk about the map that Ellie was using to navigate Seattle ended up getting left behind in this scene. The reason I mention it is because some people have argued that this is a plot convenience in the story. I am going to talk about it more, but not right now because there's other elements of the story I want to focus on for the here and now. All that really needs to be said is that leaving that map behind would end up having disastrous consequences for our protagonists because, well, this is what ended up happening soon after the incident at the aquarium.
How you doing?
Fine.
Ellie?
Fine. Thanks for coming back for me.
My friend's problems are my problems.
You're such a sap.
All right, how about, my friends can't get out of their own damn way?
It's better. Shit.
Jesse, stand up. Hands in the air. I shoot this one too.
Don't you do it, Ellie. Get out of here.
Stand up now.
Don't you fucking dare.
Shut the fuck up. Fuck. All right. Stop. Stop. Toss your weapon. Toss your weapon. Fuck.
No.
I know why you killed Joel. He did what he did to save me. There is no cure because of me. I am the one that you want. Just let him go.
You killed my friends. We let you both live.
And you wasted it. Dad? 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 Come on.
Okay, so we're basically at the midpoint of the game now, and this is where a lot of the controversy for this game comes from. Now, I'm going to take a little bit of time to just talk about this quickly before I continue on because I feel this is important both narratively speaking and also because a lot of the controversy with this game surrounds this creative decision. First off, we're going to talk about the pacing. So, this is a big complaint I've heard from a lot of people. I personally didn't find the pacing of this too bad, but I can understand why others did find this to be a problem. So, let's put it this way. We've spent the whole first half of the game playing as Ellie, near enough, tracking down Abby, going through all this kind of stuff, and finally we get to the moment where we're about to reach a climax. And then it just stops. It then reveals that we're going to be playing as Abby. At first it's not clear to the player how long we're going to be playing as her for, but eventually it will become clear that the whole second half of the game, near enough, is dedicated to playing as Abby, except for a small section at the very end where we play as Ellie to wrap things up. When looking at the pacing, I can understand why a lot of people didn't like this move. Not only because only a few moments earlier did it feel like we were about to reach a climax in the story, but also because it feels like it was a massive hit to progression. So picture this. You've spent a lot of time playing a game. You spent that time following a character's story, getting all the good weapons, all the good equipment, all the upgrades, all that fun stuff. But then, at the halfway point of the game, you're basically presented with a new character, in which you basically have to start all of that stuff again. When looking at it like this, I can understand why a lot of people were frustrated. I personally do wonder if the pacing would have worked better if they'd instead just leapfrogged between Abby and Ellie throughout the whole game. So, to to put it in perspective, this is what we actually got. In terms of being in Seattle, this is how it went. Ellie Day 1, Ellie Day 2, Ellie Day 3. Then, at the midpoint of the game, we switch over to Abby and do Abby Day 1, Abby Day 2, Abby Day 3. The problem with doing it this way, at least to me, is that it felt extremely jarring when we reached the midpoint of the game. So much so that as time went on, it honestly started feeling like I was playing two separate campaigns within one story. And I guess looking at it from a certain point of view, it's kind of true. Because both Ellie and Abby's stories largely remain separate from each other when in Seattle, only really connecting with each other when we get to see Abby react to certain events that happened as a result of Ellie's actions in her half of the story. It's only at the end of Abby Day 3 where we finally get to see Ellie and Abby's stories collide in a violent confrontation at the theatre. Only then do we actually get to see how the confrontation actually turns out. Instead, I wonder if the pacing could have worked better if they'd done it like this. Ellie Day 1, Abby Day 1. Ellie Day 2, Abby Day 2. Ellie Day 3, Abby Day 3. By doing it this way, not much about the story would actually change overall, to my knowledge. The only thing that would probably change is that big anticlimactic, cut in the midpoint of the game, where it transfers from Ellie's perspective over to Abby's. You'd probably also need to move some of the cutscenes around, or maybe even come up with some new ones altogether. The only potential flaw I see with doing it this way is that it might make the story harder to follow overall, as a result of the constant back and forth between Abby and Ellie. That might be why they chose to do it all in one go for Ellie's section, and then repeat the process with Abby. I'm curious to hear what you guys think of this whole idea of switching up the pacing, whether it would have been better just leapfrog between Ellie and Abby. On to the far more controversial creative decision regarding this, decision to play as Abby, though, is, the fact that we actually have to play as Abby, the person who killed Joel. Now, first things first, I would actually like to say that I appreciate the fact that Naughty Dog was willing to take risks by going down the harder path with this story, rather than doing something more safe and predictable. The problem is, when it comes to taking risks and deviating away from traditional plot points in stories, you need to make sure that the writing and the presentation is strong. And unfortunately, in my opinion, I don't think this game did a good job at either of those things. First off is the presentation. I get that the story is trying to get you to sympathize or at the very least understand why Abby did what she did. But the problem is the seeds of hate against her had already been planted right at the start of the game when she brutally murdered Joel. And then we play as Ellie for basically the whole first half of the game in her quest to hunt down Abby and get revenge. And pretty much every encounter that Ellie has with the wolves and Abby's friends further solidifies the idea that the wolves, Abby's friends, and Abby herself aren't good people. So, by the midpoint of the game, I think it's pretty safe to say that a lot of people's opinion of Abby is going to be pretty negative by now, and it's going to be quite an uphill battle to try and pull things back for her, which comes to our second problem, the writing. So we're about to basically watch Abby and her part of the story unfold, and we're going to see her do lots of things. Some good things, some bad things, but I suppose as time goes on, we're going to see her try and move more towards doing the right thing, I suppose, so to speak. Some may even argue it's a sort of redemption arc of sorts. The problem is, though, is that, narratively speaking, there's only so much you can pull a character back from. So it kind of makes sense that, in the eyes of many, there was no redeeming the fact that Abby committed a cold and premeditated murder on Joel. And all of this while Ellie was literally being held down, forced to watch, and practically screaming and begging to Abby not to do it. And all of this happened despite the fact that Joel literally saved Abby's life. You'd think someone would have some manner of gratitude after something like that, but no, I guess not. I guess Abby was just so blinded by revenge that even the act of having someone who she thought was a cold-hearted monster save her life was still not enough to change her mind about anything. Like, I get that this is supposed to tie in with the whole theme of the destructive nature of revenge, but you'd think at the very least this would bring questions into Abby's mind. Like, for example, having the person who you've spent so long thinking about getting revenge on suddenly coming out of nowhere and saving your life when you most likely would have died otherwise. You'd think at the very least this would make Abby wonder if Joel is really the person she believed him to be. Not to be completely unfair to Abby though, Joel is not exactly innocent in this situation either, as the game is soon to reveal. There is still stuff I'd like to talk about regarding Joel's character in this game, but this video is already long enough as is. Anyway, I thought it would be just interesting and also important to touch upon this big switch to Abby's character and perspective in this game, because as I said before, it seems so much of the controversy in this game surrounds this creative choice. But anyway, I suppose without saying too much more, this has been Kendall Games. Thank you for watching, hope you enjoyed, and I will see you in the next one.